Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. I am Richard. Today I am going to strap you on a rocket and shoot you out in space to form great alliances and hopefully keep those alliances long enough for them not to screw you over. You're going to complete objectives alone or with those same alliances that you have just formed, trying to get prestige to become the #1 space trader in the universe. Build your ship, construct your crews. I'm going to show you Moonrakers. This is a 1 to 5 player game. It's about 60 to 120 minutes of gameplay, depending on how many players you are, of course. And it's made by Ivy Studio. This is a pretty game. It has a cool, fast gameplay. I'm going to show you the setup today. I'm going to give you an overview of the gameplay and go through the rules and hopefully teach you how to play it. So let's just take a look at it. This is the setup of the board. Over here we have the armory. Over here we have the dispatch. Each player gets their own command terminal. Then each player is dealt 10 action cards. And each player gets the same amount of cards and same cards. 3 reactor cards, 2 thruster cards, 2 damage cards, 2 shield, and 1 miss. These should be shuffled really good. Probably better than I'm doing right now. And then the player should take 5 cards and put in their hand, and the rest next to their draw area, next to their command terminal. Each player should also get 2 starting credits and put them somewhere on their command terminal. On the armory, we put the 3 credit tokens up here in the vault, and the 1 credit tokens down here in the other vault. Up here we have the crew deck. We should shuffle this real good and then put 3 face up next to the crew deck. In the bottom parts we have the ship parts. Again, we should shuffle this real good and put 6 of them in 2 rows face up next to the ship part area. Over here we have the dispatch board, and we put the contracts face down on the contract spot of the board. And again, we shuffle them real good and we place out 4 face up on the board. While putting the contracts here, we first remove contracts with a hazard of 3 or 4, and then we shuffle them back in the deck before we put the face out card out on the table. Again, probably shuffle better than I do right now. Then we take the objective cards. Again, we shuffle them real good. And we deal out 3 of the objective cards to each player. Then each player takes a look at them and chooses 2. The one they did not choose go back in the bottom of the objectives. The ones they did choose goes in the bottom of their command terminal. Then we place the hazard dice next to the dispatch board. And each player chooses their tiny, cool little ship that corresponds with the color of their command terminal and places it in 0 on the prestige tracker. Moonrakers is about you going up in space, trying to get as much prestige as possible, or at least more than the other players to win the game. You get prestige by completing contracts or completing objectives. But in the beginning of the game, it's hard for you to do that by yourself, as you have no crew and you have no upgrades on your ship, and your action deck is quite basic. Yet, because you will be able to buy and upgrade your ship as you get more credits. But again, to get credits, you need to complete the contracts and objectives. So in the beginning of the game, you will need to form alliances, because you probably won't be able to do everything yourself. And hopefully those alliances won't screw you over and take all the benefit of whatever you're trying to complete, and you might be able to share the profit. You need to agree on who will get what on the different contracts or objectives. So for example, if an objective has 3 prestige points, well, you need to agree who will get what of those 3 points. And sometimes it goes good, sometimes it just does not go that good. But slowly as the game goes on and you get more and more credits, more and more upgrades, you will be able to do these contracts and objectives by yourself. meaning that all of a sudden you will get all the profit while completing these missions, giving you all the prestige and hopefully moving you up on the prestige track faster than all the other players. Now this game is pretty. It's so beautiful, so well made. The boards, the metal coins, the cards, everything just screams out elegance. And this is not a deluxe exclusive limited edition. This is the way the game looks, and it's so pretty. It's almost so pretty that I don't want to touch it with my bare hands, so give me a minute. There we go. That's better. So this game is about you completing contracts, looking like this. If we look on the other side, we can see in the top right corner what kind of rewards we will get for completing this contract. We will get 5 prestige points, 11 credits, and 1 bonus card. Down here we can see the requirements that are needed to fulfill this contract. And on the other side we can see the amount of hazard dice that we need to roll. In this case, all 4 are marked out, meaning that we should roll 4 dice. There are 4 different kinds of contracts in this game. The orange ones here are kill, the green ones are rescue, the yellow ones are delivery, and lastly, the blue ones are exploration. This game is played out during 3 different phases. The first one is the planning phase. And before we start going into the phases, we need to determine who will be the mission leader during this round. The way we do that is that each player takes up the hazard dice, roll them, and whoever gets the least amount of hazard symbols, the red little triangles here, gets to become the mission leader during this round. And it looks like it's me. Now we move into phase number 1. This is the planning phase. And the mission leader, me, the person who rolled the least amount of hazard dice, has 2 choices. The first choice is to pick a contract. The second choice is to stay at base. If the mission leader chooses to take a contract, we get to pick one of the contracts that are faced up on the table. Now, while doing this, there's a few things that you should have in mind. First of all, you need to check out your objectives to see what kind of objectives you actually need to complete to get these scores. It could be a lot of different things. For example, that you need to complete 3 contracts with the hazard of 3 on them, and so on. So that is one of the things that you need to have in mind. You also need to have in mind what kind of cards you have on your hand. Because remember, you need to fulfill the requirements that are stated in the bottom left corner of the contract cards. And you might not have the requirements on your hand to actually fulfill these demands. So this might be the time for you to choose a contract and also form an alliance. Because the other player now gets to play their action cards as well to help you complete this contract. But first you need to agree on some terms. You need to agree on who will get what from the rewards. Who will get to roll the hazard dice, who will get the prestige, bonus cards, and so on. Once you have agreed on that, you can start to play your cards to fulfill these requirements. So let's say that the mission leader have decided to take on this contract by themselves. Then we would first need to look at the bottom right corner to see how many hazard dice we would need to roll. This one says 1. It could have been 4, but there's only 1 line filled. Then we need to roll the die. They got a 1, meaning that if we can't block this damage with a shield by the end of this contract, we will lose 1 prestige. The mission leader starts by playing the reactor card, using their start in action to play this card. But as you see down here, this card will also give you 2 more actions. And as this is a reactor card, it also fills out half of the requirements of the reactor on the contract. Then the mission leader plays thruster, using 1 of their 2 actions, remember? So now when they have used this, they only have 1 action left. but this card will let them pick up 2 more cards from their draw pile. Now the mission leader plays Reactor again, using their last actions, but again giving them 2 more. And now completely fulfilling the requirements of reactors on the contract. As the team leader now have 2 actions left, they choose to play a damage 3 card. This damage here gives a total of 3, meaning that it will fulfill this requirement here completely. And with their last action, they play a shield card to block out the hazard that they got from the die, meaning that now there's no more hazard for them. And they have also completely fulfilled this contract. When the contract has been fulfilled, you get the rewards that are stating up in the left corner. And of course, if you have an ally with you on completing this contract, you now need to split up the rewards as you agreed on before taking on the contract. If an ally would have been a part of this contract, they would also have played their cards just like I did now, playing out their cards, getting extra actions, and so on, until, hopefully, the card have been fulfilled. If you do not fulfill a contract, there will be no negative consequences, but you will still need to take the hazard that you have not been able to block out. If a player would have had any ship parts on their ship, they would of course been able to use this while completing the contract as well. If you did complete the contract, you move up the amount of prestige points that you got. You and or your allies that have agreed on a certain amount of credits will now get them. If you completed a contract with the bonus card on it and you fulfill the requirements, the player may also take the top card of the ship parts or the crew cards. Now again, this could be the leader of this round, but it could also be the ally that got it as well. It all depends on what you have negotiated on. Once the contract has been successful or failed, we need to do some things as well. First, we need to take the cards that we have played and put them in our discard pile. We also need to take the contract that we have just succeeded or failed and put in a discard pile next to the dispatch board. Then we of course need to fill out the contract market here again with the top card from that pile. All allies get to draw 5 cards from their draw deck. We need to take away any prestige that we lost because of hazard dice, and if we have chosen this path to do a contract, we would move into the buy phase directly after trying to complete the contract. But what happens if you choose path number 2 during phase number 1? Instead of going out and completing a contract, you could just choose to stay home at base. And it's not that boring as it sounds because you get to do a lot of things. First thing you need to do is to draw 2 new objective cards. Once you have looked at them, you keep one and the other one goes back in the bottom of the objective deck. You also get 1 credit for staying home and protecting your base. We then skip the execution phase completely because, well, we have no contract to execute. And if we want to, we can take and replay some of the cards out here on the contract market with the top card from the contract deck. We may also discard the cards that we have on our hand to draw 5 new ones. The mission leader could also decide to jump directly to the buying phase. Once we're done with phase 1 and 2, we move into phase number 3. It kind of makes sense, right? Number 3, that's the buying phase. And this is where the mission leader gets to buy whatever they want from the armory market that are faced up on the table. So you can't take from the piles, you need to take what you can see. Sadly though, the allies over here will not be able to buy anything in this phase. It's only the mission leader. Now, the mission leader can buy whatever they want from the market as long as they can pay for it. So you could buy 5 ship parts and 2 crew members, but you would need to have the money, of course. To see what you need to pay for them, you need to look in the bottom right corner, as there will state how many credits this card costs. If you buy a ship part, for example, you would take that ship part and you would put it on your command board. If you already have 4 ship parts here, and you buy a 5th one, you would need to discard 1 of the card to fit in the new one, as you can only have 4 at a maximum. When you have bought a card, you immediately refill the market with 1 from the top of the pile. Now, when you buy a ship card, you usually get a little bonus as well. Because up in the right corner here, you see a symbol for a card. That means the card's up here. Meaning that when I bought this ship part here, I get one more shield, giving me this shield up here. This card goes down into my action deck. Now, if I buy a crew member, I would do it the same way. I would take the card, and I would need to pay the amount stated down in the corner, but this one goes down in my 2 discard pile. And again, I would need to refill the market. During the buy-in phase, the mission leader may also spend 1 credit to change any of the cards in the armory market, taking away this one for example and replacing it with the top card from the corresponding deck. Once the buying phase is over, the mission leader takes up 5 cards from their discard pile to form a new hand. The player to the left of the mission leader becomes the mission leader in the next round. The player to first reach 10 prestige points is the winner of the game. So that's how you play Moonrakers. It's not that hard, is it, right? You have the 3 different phases. You have one mission leader deciding in phase 1 what they would like to do. Would they just like to stay home at the base in their pajamas, buy some new stuff and upgrade their ships? Or would they just want to go out and do some contracts instead, maybe get some more prestige? Getting up some allies that will hopefully do what they say, or maybe you want to take on the contract yourself and get all the money, joy and beautiful scores instead. Now, this game is pretty hard strategically, because you really need to keep an eye on your hand, but also your objectives that you want to complete to get scores. As you do the different contracts, you need to have a good understanding on what you actually have on your hand, as you only have 1 starting action. So when you play 1 card, you must make sure that you have another card backing you up so you can get 2 more actions, playing that card, getting more cards up on your hand, getting more actions, and so on. Eventually, when you have played this game a few times, you really get the flow of the game. What card should you start playing? What card should you not start playing? Maybe you should save up some actions so you can block up some of the hazard dangers that come in the end of the contract. You really need to get a sense of what cards you have on your hand. Also with the different ship parts, because they do a lot of different things. If you have ship cards here, they might be the difference on you completing a contract by yourself or you needing to bring in an ally to complete it. So there are a lot of strategic different deck building tactics in this game. There are a ton of different ship parts for you to try on and upgrade your ship with. They will do different things, give extra damage, extra shield, extra actions. They will give you a bunch of different benefits, so make sure that you look these through before start to play the game so you know what you actually need to buy. Just like the ship parts, there's also a bunch of different cool crew members that you can build your deck with. These ones will give you a lot of benefits while completing the different contracts, like subtracting the requirements, adding extra score or removing damage, search your draw pile, give you new cards on your hand. There are a lot of different ways to use these crew members. The components in this game, the player boards, the metal coins, the dice, the cards, just screams out excellence. They are so beautiful and so well made. The quality of this game is so high. Without it being a deluxe edition or anything, this game comes in on a high level and almost demands you to dress up according to using this game correctly, because it's just so beautiful. Also, the artwork in the game makes everything feel like you are in a sci-fi world that you almost do not want to leave. And there's even a comic book in this box giving you a little bit more lore and information about what have actually happened in the world that you are about to enter. And it just looks so cool, and it gives you that extra feeling that you want to play this game even more. Just like the components, the rulebook screams out excellence. The pages are just so beautiful, well made. It's printed in clear and beautiful colors. You have pictures explaining all the different texts, and there's never really a trouble getting through this rulebook at all. It's easy written, it's short sections with text, so you don't need to read it all. It doesn't get that thick. It's really good made, well thought through. Just perfect excellence. And again, the material is just so nice. And then there's the box. Oh my, what a box. I mean, I could buy this game just to have this up on my shelf and make it look good. Because that's how good it looks, right? Again, you have that high quality. You can almost feel the quality in it. It's like fresh air on a summer day. It's just so pretty. But that's not even mentioning the box on the inside, because the inside of the box is almost better than the outside. You have everything so well sorted in this box. All the different cards has a compartment. You have the coins here with a perfect fit. The little dice, the spaceships even have a little spot themselves. This is brilliant. Do this. There you have it, people. That was Moonrakers for you. A really beautiful and well-made game. Once you have got an understanding of how the gameplay works and what cards that you should have on your hands, which crew members you need to get more of, which cards you need to get more of, which ship parts that your ship needs, this game flows on just perfect. I mean, it's like oil in a sink. Is that an expression? Well, never mind. The game is brilliant. If you like deck building games with a lot of tactics, with a lot of strategy, this one is for you. And the whole thing where you can have allies, but you really don't know if they're your allies or they're going to back out in the last minute and just not support you enough, makes the suspense really, really high. And you never really know what's going to happen. It's a cool game. I think you should check this out if you like deck builders and if you like sci-fi themes, or if you just like pretty things. There will be links down in the description for you to check that out if you want to know more about the game. And if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, people, please subscribe to it. It gives me a smile on my lips every time I get a new subscriber. And don't forget, people, to spread the board gaming love. If you see a brother or a sister out there that need help with some rules, well, help them explain it for you. And don't be afraid to ask either. And until next time, people, keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace.